Hi Mountain Mom and Tots fans, we are here to talk about what gear you need to bring for a family bike ride. What is in your biking bag? And I brought in Mountain Dad. You may not see him very often on this channel, but this is him. He exists. And he is a great resource for taking care of gear, especially bikes. So he's gonna show you what's in his bag. I'm gonna show you what's in my bag. And at the end of this video, you need to decide who would you rather go on a family bike ride with. So let's talk about what's in my bike bag. Here are some essentials. Now I have this dedicated mountain biking bag. It's really bare bones. All it is a Camelbak, a pump, a small toolkit, and I have a spare tube that I put in here when I'm out biking. Now this is my bike bag. If you already have a day pack and you want to just put that pump and an extra spare tube in your day pack, great, that's an awesome option. If you're going with kids, you probably will have them in a trailer or a bike seat. You can put these extra items right in that trailer or on a storage thing on your bike, because most importantly is that you have them in case of an emergency. So here's my pump, here's my tube, and here in my toolkit, really, I have a few Allen wrenches and these nifty little tire levers. This is really important if you have to change a flat. Flat tires are the most common problem that we run into, right? Wouldn't you say?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. If you have to change a flat, these are like little crowbars to help you get that tire off so you can replace the tube and get back to your car. Those are my essentials. Now, what is in your pack?
So in addition to the family rides, I do a lot of downhill mountain biking and some cross country. So my toolkit's a little more extensive. I have a dedicated bag as well. This is a Camelbak. It kind of splits the difference between that kind of minimalist pack and a regular day pack. So I can fit all my tools, I have plenty of water, and I even have enough room for snacks, or I can even tuck a windbreaker or something in there as well. There's a lot of options on the market today. Dedicated packs, believe it or not, fanny packs have made a comeback in the mountain biking community. In addition, they have introduced these frame straps, which we'll show you a little bit about, where you can actually just strap a tube, a pump, tire levers, strap this onto your bike frame, and be good to go without having a pack at all. The great thing about these is it's always with your bike. Yep. So you don't have to worry about, do I have it in my bag every time you go on a ride. In terms of tools, the things I typically carry, like Mountain Mom, I carry a pump. I also carry tire levers. Mine are a little burlier because I have bigger, gnarlier tires on my bike. And I chose these specifically because they're actually multifunctional. They are a tiny bit more expensive, but they have a built-in master chain link remover tool, which allows you to disconnect your chain if you have any issues with it. So not necessary for everybody, but for me, it means one less thing to buy and pack in my pack. Yeah. I also carry a spare tube. We'll talk a little bit more about spare tubes and how many you need to carry and what kinds.
Yeah, stick to the end because he's got a great tip to help save space in your pack using this tube trick.
Right. The one thing that's probably a difference between mine and Mountain Mom's pack is this tire pressure gauge. So the great thing about a tire pressure gauge is you never have to guess how full your tires are. The reason tire pressure is important is because a lot of flats that you experience are caused by pinch flats. That's where you impact your wheel onto a square edge rock or a curb or something like that. It compresses the tube against the rim and boom, you get a snake bite flat. The tire pressure gauge allows you to make sure that your tires are inflated fully so that you can help avoid those pinch flats. Very easy to use. I highly recommend it because the thumb and forefinger isn't terribly accurate. I've had scenarios where I haven't packed this. I've gone ahead and replaced the tube, inflated it up, checked it with the thumb and forefinger, and actually got a second flat because it wasn't inflated enough.
Yep, walking your bike down the hill on a long mountain biking trail is not very fun.
Absolutely. So I also carry a few tools. This is a dedicated bike tool. It has all the little doodads that you need. It's got hex keys, it's got flathead, Phillips, Torx keys, it's got a chain brake tool. all the little things that you need to for on-the-trail bike maintenance. It's a great tool. I only use it for on-the-trail maintenance because it can be a little clunky and hard to get into tight spaces. I also carry this little guy. This is kind of a new addition for Mountain Dad. This is a little Leatherman Squirt. What's great about it is it's got these little pliers, it's got a flathead screwdriver, a little Phillips screwdriver, scissors, all sorts of little tools that can come in handy for doing things like adjusting your brake cables and other little maintenance tasks. I really like it, and it's become a permanent part of my pack because it is tiny and lightweight, easy to store.
I use it also, I will steal it sometimes. Use the knife feature to cut apples for my kids. That's what I use that mostly for.
That is absolutely true.
Yep.
So in addition to these types of dedicated tools, one of the trends in mountain biking right now is to provide dedicated tools that integrate into your bike. So they have tools that will drop into your steer tube on your fork. They'll go into your bottom bracket, which is where the pedals and cranks attach, or even on the end of your handlebars. Our older son's bike, he has a water bottle cage system, and it's got a little multi-tool built in, as well as some tire levers. And we've started to kind of offload some of our gear to him so that he can be prepared and learn how to use these tools as well. He also has one of these frame straps with a tube. We strap that on his frame so we don't have to worry about carrying it. He's always got it with him. So if you don't want to buy dedicated tools specific to biking, odds are pretty good you have some of these metric Allen keys or hex wrenches sitting around your garage somewhere. They're cheap, they're inexpensive, and they're actually really useful. When I am working on my bikes at home, I actually use these or my T hex wrenches because they're a lot easier to get into the hard to reach places. They're longer, they're thinner, and they're just a lot easier to use. So it wouldn't hurt if you don't want to spend 20 bucks on a dedicated tool to grab the 3, 4, 5 millimeter hex key, throw them in your bag with a rubber band or a Ziploc bag or something. So one of the other things I bring is this little bag full of knickknacks and doodads.
That's the technical term.
So it has things like air valve caps. You're constantly losing these whenever you're putting air in your tires. I have replacement valves for my tubeless setup. I also have things like this replacement derailleur hanger. So if I ever bend mine, I can pop this on real quick and still shift and get down the trail. I have a spare master link, as well as these little end caps for your cables. So since I do a lot of mountain biking, I run my bike as a tubeless setup. What that means is there's no tube on my wheel. Basically the tire mounts straight against the rim, and it's filled with sealant to plug any holes that you might get from like a goat head thorn or a stick or something. It's much like a typical car tire. However, if you get larger punctures on your tire, the sealant might not be able to plug it. So anything over like 2 millimeters. So I carry a tire plug kit. This thing's great. You basically just plug this little tip into the hole, and this little plug here stays behind when you pull it out, bonds with the sealant, fills those larger gaps, so you can put air back in your tire and get back on the trail. Other things I carry also include this little valve stem remover, and I carry a spoke wrench as well, which is an advanced tool. I wouldn't recommend messing with your spoke tension unless you understand what you're doing. But it's great for being able to true up rims on the trail in case you get a really big wobble or a flat spot, particularly on bikes with rim brakes. You can straighten that out, get everybody back on the road, and they don't have to worry about their brakes rubbing or feeling wobbly or out of control on the bike. So I do pack that as well. So another thing I carry in my pack that I consider essential are zip ties. So you've probably seen zip ties before. They come in all your packaging. You might have some just lying around your house. These things are amazing. They're one of my favorite bike hacks. They can do so many things. They can do everything from repairing broken zipper pulls and belt buckles and pack buckles to serving as actually a master chain link removal tool. There are so many great uses for these things, and they cost pennies each. These things are so cheap and light and packable that there's no reason for you not to include these in your bike pack.
He convinced me, so now I have 2 in my pack too.
So this last tool is something I don't necessarily carry with me on the trail all the time, but I keep it in my bike pack so I know where it is. This is a shock pump. So again, I ride a mountain bike. It has full air suspension. So a shock pump allows you to inflate the shocks to the correct pressure, depending on your weight and riding style. This thing is great, But a lot of times I will just take it out of my pack at the trailhead and leave it in the truck so I don't have to carry the extra weight. I don't carry a patch kit. That would be the lightest solution in this scenario. But in my experience, it's so much faster and easier just to change the tube out than to sit there and try to patch the tube. It's also going to last a lot longer typically. The challenge is, of course, that again, with all these different size mountain bikes, so my bike and Mountain Mom's bike have 27.5 inch wheels. Our son has 24 inch wheels. One of our daughters has 20 inch wheels and the other daughter has 16 inch wheels. That's a lot of different size tubes. You can see here's only 3, but that takes up a lot of space in your pack and adds a lot of weight to your back. So the thing that you can do to kind of get around that is bring, for the adult bikes, the biggest tube that you have between you. So we bring this 27.5 inch tube. We can use it on both of Mountain Mom and Mai's bike. We can also use it on Ethan's 24 inch bike. It's a close enough size that you can put it in there, inflate it, and it's going to get you back to the trailhead instead of having to push your bike. And then when you get home, you can replace it with a standard 24 inch tube. Now that's not going to work for those smaller kids bikes. You're not going to want to put a 29 inch tube or 27.5 inch tube on a 20 inch wheel. So here's a 20 inch tube that we have for our daughter's bike. This will work, however, for the 16 inch wheel that our other daughter rides. That allows us to carry one tube for both bikes. We have 6 bikes. 3 of them have Presta valves. 3 of them have Schrader valves. But what we do is only carry tubes that have Presta valves. The reason is that if you look at these, the Schrader valve is a little bit thicker. A Presta valve can fit into a rim that has a Schrader hole in it, whereas a Schrader valve will not fit into a rim that has a Presta hole in it. So in order to keep the number of tubes down, we simply bring tubes that have Presta valves on them so we can use them in both bikes. Then when we get home, we can pull out the Presta tube out of any Schrader wheels and replace them with the correct tube.
Right. This was a tip just for emergencies to get you back to the house with the minimal amount of crying from both adults and children.
Mostly adults.
All right. So we've talked about the tools. On this last little section, we want to share just 3 quick things that we keep in our packs, whether it's a hiking pack or a biking pack, that will help any emergency situation go a little bit better. The first one is this. This is called a wag bag. I know we don't like to talk about poop, but I'm talking about poop for a minute. Whenever we are on a hike or a bike ride, it seems like our kids, 1 mile in, are suddenly feel the call of nature, the call of the wild, and have to go. So we have started carrying these wag bags. It's very similar to if you clean up after a dog. There's a plastic bag that you do your business in. Then there's a second one that you use to seal everything up so that you can take it back to the trailhead, throw it in the garbage. There's some powder in there that neutralizes the bacteria so that it is safe to throw away in a regular dumpster. Not all wag bags have that option, so make sure when you look that we'll put a link below. Make sure you get the ones that do have that option. The second thing we bring is a little first aid kit. Even something as small as this. This little baggie has some Band-Aids, alcohol wipes, and steri strips just in case of a more severe cut. It's simple, easy, lightweight, and it's amazing what a magic Band-Aid can do when someone scrapes their knee. Seriously, sometimes just the Band-Aid is the cure.
I don't think I can recall a hike or a bike trip where we haven't had to use a Band-Aid.
I know, even if it's just to improve the mood to get them back to the trailhead. Yep. This final little one is a tiny headlamp. This is really good in case you get stuck out longer than you expect and it's getting late, getting dark, or if you have a mechanical issue that takes some time and you're headed back to your home base, to the trailhead later than you expect. This is an emergency flashlight that we like to use. It's really simple, runs on a coin battery. It's got white and red lights, and it even has a little elastic so you can put it like a headlamp, just like that. That's it. This is what we pack in our biking bags when we're going out for a family bike ride. So if you like this video, go ahead and click like and subscribe right below. And to check out any of our gear recommendations, go to mountainmomandtots.com/gear. We'll see you in the outdoors.